All right, Cowboys Nation, let's get into it because there is a lot boiling over in Dallas right now, and fans are not holding back. The number one talking point, the one that comes up immediately, is the defense. It is impossible to sugarcoat it. This defense has been flat out bad, and not just a little shaky here and there, but consistently bad in a way that drags down everything else this team is trying to accomplish. You look at the offense, and it is humming. They are piling up yards, moving the ball with ease, and Dak Prescott is playing at a level we have not consistently seen from him in years. Yet, every ounce of momentum built on one side of the ball is being undercut by a defense that simply cannot get off the field. Think about it for a second. Against the Packers, you had an offense that looked like it could score at will, an offense that finished the night with close to 450 total yards, and yet the defense gave up so much on the other end that all of that production meant nothing. You cannot win consistently in the National Football League when one side of the ball is collapsing every single week, and that is exactly where Dallas is right now. It is so bad that even one positive play, like that strip sack by James Houston, feels more like a rare accident than part of a larger plan. And after that play, Houston was barely even on the field again. That kind of decision-making just adds to the frustration because you see glimpses of talent, but the rotation and the adjustments make no sense. Cowboys fans are asking, how many chances does Matt Eberflus get before enough is enough? It has only been a handful of games, but already the patience is gone. For weeks in, and you're staring at a defense that looks lost. When you're constantly getting shredded through the air, when receivers are running open and linebackers are missing tackles, when every drive feels like the opponent is marching without resistance, how can you defend that? It is giving fans flashbacks to the Mike Nolan disaster, where week after week it was the same story of broken coverages, poor tackling, and zero accountability. You cannot waste a potentially elite offense by pairing it with one of the worst defenses in football. That is a recipe for heartbreak. Now, what about solutions? The second wave of overreactions always comes around trades. Fans want to see movement, they want new names, and they want immediate help. And in fairness, it is not even an overreaction at this point. The Cowboys desperately need defensive reinforcements. The edge rushers are not delivering. The linebackers are a liability, and the secondary is not producing turnovers. When all three levels of your defense are struggling, you cannot just hope it fixes itself. Something has to change. The tricky part, of course, is how you actually get that help. Mid-season trades can be costly. Do you want to start throwing around first-round picks for a quick fix? Is it even realistic to find a difference maker who can step in right now and completely shift the unit? Those are the tough questions the front office is facing, because while the urgency is obvious, you also do not want to mortgage the future for a rental. But you cannot ignore the glaring truth. This defense needs bodies, it needs energy, it needs leaders who can step in and make an impact. Dante Fowler has been a disappointment. Sam Williams had one of his biggest plays erased by a penalty, which is kind of the perfect symbol for this defense, flashes that ultimately go nowhere. The dream scenario is finding someone young, cost-controlled, and ready to contribute for multiple years. But players like that almost never become available. So what do? Do you settle for short-term stopgap? Do you roll the dice on someone with potential but no track record? The reality is sitting back and doing nothing feels like giving up on a season where the offense is too good to waste. And that brings us to the linebackers, maybe the weakest link in the entire chain. Every single player in that group has been underwhelming. Kenneth Murray looks like the same inconsistent guy he was with the Chargers and the Titans. Jack Sanborn might be in the right spot most of the time, but he does not have the speed to actually make a difference. Maurice Leaf gets more snaps, and what stands out? A missed tackle here, a dumb penalty there. That is not enough. DeMarvion Overshown was supposed to bring a spark, but without him the unit is lifeless. Even when Shamar James got a chance, the story was the same. Flashes of athleticism, but nothing steady enough to inspire confidence. When you cannot trust your linebackers to cover ground, to communicate, and to set the tone, your entire defense crumbles in the middle. It is exhausting to keep coming back to the same issues, but this is where the Cowboys are. The defense is holding everything back. And meanwhile, Dak Prescott is playing out of his mind. People can talk all they want about MVP conversations being tied to wins, but if you're watching the games, you can see it. Prescott is dealing. Against Green Bay, outside of one missed throw, he was nearly flawless. He had 4 total touchdowns, he was running the ball, making every read, and carrying the offense on his shoulders. The connection with George Pickens was electric, especially with CeeDee Lamb sidelined. Pickens looked every bit like a number 1 wideout, going for over 130 yards and 2 scores. That is the version of Pickens the Cowboys dreamed about when they brought him in, and he delivered when they needed it most. But even those incredible performances get overshadowed because the defense cannot stop a nosebleed. Dak could throw 4 touchdowns, Pickens could go off, the offensive line could pave the way for a balanced attack, and it still feels like the Cowboys are running uphill with weights on their ankles. Every week becomes a shootout, and while the offense can keep pace for a while, it is not sustainable over a full season. That is how good years go to waste when you're forced to play perfect on one side just to survive the disasters on the other. The looming question is what the Cowboys are going to do about Pickens and his future. He showed exactly why he is worth top money, but that is the problem. Performances like that raise his value, and from his perspective, there is no reason to rush into an extension. The franchise tag is sitting there as a massive safety net, and with the wide receiver market exploding, waiting only increases his leverage. From the team's point of view, you want to get it done early before the price climbs even higher, but why would his camp settle now when the upside is so obvious? So yes, Pickens has to be a priority, but the reality is that nothing will get solved quickly. In the meantime, the Cowboys are caught between 2 extremes. On one hand, their quarterback is playing some of the best football of his career, the offense is producing at a high level, and individual players like Pickens are stepping up in huge ways. On the other hand, the defense is so porous that all of that excellence is wasted. It is a brutal contrast, and until something changes on the defensive side, every Sunday is going to feel like a repeat of the same frustrating movie. All right, Cowboys fans, let's keep this rolling because there's still so much to unpack about where this team stands and where is headed. The talk around Dak Prescott being on an MVP level is not just hype. It is backed up by what we are seeing on the field. The way he is processing defenses, the way he is staying calm under pressure, the way he is spreading the ball around and making throws into tight windows, it all screams elite play. You watch him right now, and he looks completely in control of this offense. And it is clear that the coaching staff has tailored things to fit his strengths. Brian Schottenheimer taking over as the play caller has allowed Dak to have more influence on the flow of the game, and it shows. The confidence is there, the rhythm is there, and even the few mistakes he has made are overshadowed by the sheer volume of great plays. The problem, of course, is that MVP is often about wins as much as it is about individual performance. And that is where the defense drags the conversation down. If the Cowboys were sitting at 4-0 right now, Dak would be in every headline as the frontrunner. Instead, he is playing at that level while the record tells a very different story. It is frustrating because you can see how much is being wasted. When a quarterback is performing this well, it should translate into victories, not moral victories, not close losses where everyone points fingers at the defense. The MVP race is not kind to players on underachieving teams, and unless something changes, that is exactly the boat Prescott is stuck in. But let's step back and give credit where is due. The throws he made against Green Bay were the kind that separate good quarterbacks from great ones. He was reading coverages, manipulating defenders with his eyes, hitting tight windows, and doing it all while maintaining composure in the pocket. He used his legs at the right moments, he kept drives alive, and he finished possessions in the red zone with touchdowns instead of settling for field goals. This is the version of Dak that Cowboys fans have been waiting for, the one that puts the team on his back and give them a chance in every game, regardless of how bad things are on the other side of the ball. Now, with George Pickens, the conversation becomes even more layered. His breakout performance against the Packers reminded everyone of why he is so important to this offense, especially when CeeDee Lamb is not available. 8 catches, over 130 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That is a statement game. He proved that he can be the go-to guy, that he can handle the pressure of being the number one receiver when the team needs him most. But with that kind of production comes leverage, and he knows it. The Cowboys know it too, and that is why getting a deal done with him is not simple. He has every reason to wait, because the longer he performs at this level, the higher his value goes. From the team's perspective, they would love to lock him up before the price tag skyrockets. But in reality, the odds are stacked against that happening right now. The franchise tag is projected to be close to $30 million, which gives Pickens all the security he needs in the short term. Why rush into a deal when you have that kind of baseline guaranteed? Unless the Cowboys are willing to put a monster contract on the table immediately, Pickens and his camp are going to be patient. And honestly, that makes sense. This is how you maximize career earnings. As frustrating as it might be for the front office, you cannot blame him for waiting it out. Meanwhile, fans are stuck in that weird middle ground of being blown away by the offensive fireworks while simultaneously feeling hopeless about the team's bigger picture. It is the classic Cowboys dilemma. The talent is undeniable, the star power is there, but the inconsistency and the holes on defense keep pulling them back down. You can only ask Prescott and the offense to do so much. No quarterback, no matter how hot, can carry a defense that is this incapable of stopping anyone. It becomes a weekly cycle of shootouts, late-game collapses, and wasted performances. The energy in the fan base reflects that frustration. One moment you're cheering a perfect strike from Dak to Pickens, and the next moment you're groaning as the defense gives it all back on the very next drive. It feels like a team at war with itself, one side dragging the other down, and that tension is not sustainable. Something has to break, and the big question is whether the front office has the courage to make the aggressive moves necessary to salvage this season. Waiting for things to magically fix themselves is not an option anymore. Every week the spotlight on the linebackers grows harsher. You can't keep running out the same names and expecting a different result. It is not just about one missed tackle here or there. It is about the complete lack of impact. When was the last time you saw a Cowboys linebacker change the momentum of a game? When was the last time you saw one of them step up and dominate? That absence speaks volumes. It leaves the defensive line exposed. It puts even more pressure on the secondary, and it creates a chain reaction of failure. Until that position group is fixed, the defense is going to keep collapsing at the worst times. And all of this is happening in late September, which is the hardest time to make the kind of changes fans want. Free agency is thin, trades are complicated, and nobody is giving up quality defenders unless the price is ridiculous. The Cowboys are in a corner. Do they overpay now in a desperate attempt to save the season? Or do they play the long game and risk wasting one of Dak's best years? Neither option is appealing, but sitting still feels like the worst choice of all. What makes it harder is that the offense is showing enough to convince fans this team could be special. You have an MVP-level quarterback, you have playmakers stepping up, and you have the kind of balance that can win games in January. But unless the defense finds its footing, none of it will matter. The narrative around the Cowboys has been the same for years. So much promise, so much talent, and then disappointment when it counts. This season was supposed to be different, and in some ways it still can be, but the clock is ticking fast. But before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Dallas Cowboys. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. In a move that has already set tongues wagging across the NFL, linebacker CJ Mosley has reportedly signed with the Dallas Cowboys. While nothing has been officially confirmed, sources close to the team suggest that the deal could bring an immediate jolt to a defense that has struggled at key moments over the past seasons. Mosley, known for his sideline-to-sideline range, football IQ, and tackling precision, could be the missing piece in a Dallas unit that has flirted with dominance, but too often faltered in high-pressure situations. The buzz around this potential signing isn't just about adding another name to the roster. It's about the strategic shift it could signal. Mosley's ability to read offenses, anticipate plays, and anchor a linebacker core could transform the Cowboys' defensive schemes. Imagine a linebacker capable of neutralizing both the run and the short passing game, while also serving as a vocal leader on the field. Mosley brings all of that. Analysts are already speculating about how head coach Mike McCarthy and defensive coordinator Dan Quinn might integrate him, potentially opening up creative blitz packages and coverage rotations that could keep opposing quarterbacks constantly on edge. Fans have taken to social media to speculate what this could mean for the Cowboys' defensive identity. Some argue that Mosley's presence might finally give the team the confidence to be more aggressive, knowing they have a cerebral linebacker capable of making split-second adjustments. Others point out that the move could free up younger defenders, allowing them to play with more freedom under Mosley's guidance. The locker room impact could be just as significant as the on-field effect, with his reputation as a steadying force in high-stakes games providing a boost in morale and accountability. While the financial and contractual details remain murky, the rumor mill suggests that Mosley's deal is structured in a way that signals Dallas' intent to win now. For a team that has seen defensive inconsistency derail playoff aspirations, adding a player of Mosley's caliber could be a game-changer. NFL insiders are already debating whether this move positions the Cowboys as one of the league's most feared defenses for the upcoming season. If the deal goes through, all eyes will be on AT&T Stadium to see how quickly Mosley can make his presence felt, and whether this rumored signing can turn Dallas into a defensive juggernaut. The excitement, speculation, and debate are only just beginning, but one thing seems clear. C.J. Mosley in Dallas, even as a rumor, has the NFL buzzing. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Dallas Cowboys, please subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. We always look forward to your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.